Haruki Murakami.
Born January 12, 1949.
Born in Kyoto and grew up in Kobe.
He didn't use too many words. Too many words are it's too many words. Someone's always losing their voice. Someone's hearing is acute. Haruki Murakami.
There's a nice story to how he became a novelist. He said that, this is a quote, "Suddenly one day in April 1978, I felt like writing a novel. I remember the day clearly. I was at a baseball game that afternoon in the outfield stands, drinking beer. The stadium was a 10-minute walk from my apartment. An American, Dave Hilton, sent the first ball pitched to him that day into left field for a double. And that's when the idea struck me. I could write a novel. It was like a revelation, something out of the blue. There was no reason for it, no way to explain it. It was just an idea that came to me, just a thought. I could do it. The time had come for me to do it. When the game was over, I went to a stationery store and bought a fountain pen and paper. Then every day after work, I was working in a jazz bar. I would sit at the kitchen table for an hour or two, drinking beer and writing my novel. I'd stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning." Murakami was working in the jazz club that he owned with his wife Yoko in Tokyo. It was called Peter Cat. They opened it in 1974. Murakami loves jazz. He wasn't an avid academic student. It took him 7 years to finish college, and he eventually got a bachelor's degree in drama, writing a thesis called "The Idea of the Journey in American Films." He detached a lot. He went to 200 films in 1 year, apparently. He liked escape, or he just doesn't like joining groups and investing too many words in the places where words have been too often, and runs its thinking into routines. His parents were teachers. They both taught Japanese language and literature. Murakami was an only child, which some people have said has contributed to his introspection. He hates tropes. He likes revolution, but about the 1969 student riots of which he witnessed, here's what he said. This is a quote. "I thought there was something impure about organized activities, so I didn't participate. The thought of holding hands in a demonstration gives me the creeps." So, solitude has its own purity. This is Murakami running. He's a marathoner. He's done more than 30 marathons. He once did an ultra marathon, a 62-mile race. He believes that his physical exercise is necessary training to be a writer, because writing is such a long, hard, patient sit to turn the inner world into language. Every person is the storehouse of her sensual, visual memories. A writer has to return to those memories and turn the experiences into words. It's a very difficult, brilliant alchemy. One day after the 1991 Boston Marathon, Murakami went to go guest speak to a Japanese literature class at Harvard. It was the classroom of Professor Howard Hibbett. The students there had just finished studying Murakami's short story, The Second Bakery Attack, in which a character remarks that his hunger is like a volcano. And a student in the literature class raised his hand and said, "Mr. Murakami, can you tell me how the volcano symbolizes hunger?" In a typically understated response, Murakami said something like, "It's not a symbol, it's a volcano." He's saying something about pictures. Words are not everything. Or too many words is too many words. Let a volcano and hunger sit unresolved and together in your brain. There's something deep inside that threatens to violently come out. There's a mouth at the top. There's a rumble, potential for a natural disaster, a burning reflux, a growl, lava flow, down low, belly hidden deep in the earth. Such a massive hole that needs to be filled. Such a massive hole with such threats. You've never seen such a hot demand for intake and outtake in the world. When you say your hunger is like a volcano, there's no other explanation. Just the many memories that you have of hunger and volcanoes, and the way those memories explain hunger and volcanoes better than words like hunger and volcano. Here's another story from Murakami's life, though it is really simple to give any one childhood story to explain why we do what we do. But he tells a story that when he was 3 years old, he fell into a drainage ditch, and without having the language or the understanding of what was going on, he just felt this powerful, silent rush of darkness. You could fall in a well and die and no one would know. And that idea does structure a lot of his work. There are two forces. There is a dark underground, rich, a little frightening, and things also live and grow in a world above ground, in a simpler life. So he always plays with this tension between the life above and the life below. You can think of the place above as conscious self and then the place below as unconscious. In other words, there's the side of you that does small daily tasks like cooking spaghetti or drinking beer, and then there are the impulses to act on deep, unnamed needs. Or there's the side of you that engages in small talk or superficial stuff, making jokes, and then there is a side of you that only finds language in the odd language of your dreams. Murakami does describe these two sides of being as a yin and yang, that we live most expressively when we find some way to balance that difficult, deep state of being with a lightness about how we are and what we say. In fact, this isn't an issue about style, about how you choose to be light all the time or deep all the time. It's just a fact about how you can ever express yourself. Words can become useless and dead weight. And just like a good jazz musician knows how to play the silence, good expression takes some letting go of the idea that the human experience can be put into a story, or at least into a story that doesn't include a lot of silence. Murakami has a short story called A Shinagawa Monkey, and in it, this woman goes to therapy for a long time because she can't remember her name. And she and the therapist talk for a really long while about this, trying to get language to explain what's going on. And then finally, at one moment, the therapist says, "Oh my God, I have solved your problem. I went and found a monkey." A monkey? Yeah, a monkey. Yes, a monkey that lives in the sewer, and he stole your name. And we're going to get him back here, and that will be the end of it. Murakami is saying something about how language stops, something like a metaphor takes over, and then balance has a chance to exist. When he started writing novels, Murakami wrote in English sometimes rather than his native Japanese, just to limit his vocabulary and force himself to be in a strange relationship with the story he was telling. I was going to end the movie there, but then my friend Christy said, you need to just throw in something very personal, your own face. Isn't that the reason Murakami is so special? Because somehow, magically, his readers feel that he does something very private and intimate with their brains. It's true. It could be because he uses so few adjectives or is a minimalist with language that when you read him, it's like you're a kid connecting the dots. You connect the dots with your own creative memories on some adventure through imagination and feel very close to that portrait that emerges.
were a phonograph. I was a kid, I sat with an ear close, just listening. Was there when the rain tapped away down your face? You were a miracle, I was just holding your space. World time has a way